There we go. So, hello, you've probably had a lot of emails from me. My name's Becca. I'm the Careers Information and Events Assistant, and you should have had all your information from me, but hopefully I'll be able to clear up any questions you have about any of the platforms we're using or the format of the fair. I also have my colleague Maria. Do you want to give a little introduction and just say hello?
Yes, hello, good morning everyone. Thanks for joining. Maria, I work in the employee engagement team, and with some of you I've already had communications about the fair and engagement with the university already. If we haven't, we'll probably have in the future, but yeah.
Great, thanks Maria. So a little bit about the fair. Hopefully this is no new information, but I just want to catch any questions. I'm aware that some of you may have sent me emails that I haven't quite got round to yet. My inbox has been very overwhelmed, and we've got 4 fairs happening quite close together. So the fair's taking place from Tuesday the 12th to Friday the 15th of October next week. All of our webinars, whether that's the panel webinars or whether you've chosen a solo webinar, they are happening the 12th to the 14th. So you're only required on one of those days to be part of one webinar. Sorry if I'm a bit distracted, I'm just admitting people as they come in. You should have all the information about how to join. So all of our webinars will be taking place on Teams. You have a dedicated webinar assistant who will be there on the day to help set up the webinar early. So if you can join a little bit before your time, just to make sure that you can get into the system okay. If you have any slides, you can test those out, just so we can get going when we're meant to. Then on the Friday, we also have the one-to-one calls, which are hosted on the Career Fair Plus app or desktop app. These are an opportunity for students who want to find out a bit more of the nitty-gritty and who are hopefully really keen to apply or find out more information about your organisation. So I think the calling window is open between 10 and 4. We don't expect everyone to have that whole time free, but if you can have some time available that day, that would be really great. I know a lot of you have already set up your schedules, and some of you haven't. Students were able to book from yesterday their calls. We usually expect students to kind of book most of their calls after they've attended a webinar to find out whether they have more questions or not. If you need any help setting up your schedule, I can go through that a little bit later on in the session too, and hopefully we'll have lots of engagement with students. So I've got a couple of slides. I'm not sure how familiar with Teams people are. So I'm just gonna load up the presentation. Feel free to jump in at any point with questions. You can either pop them in the chat or just come on microphone. I'm happy to be interrupted. This is taking a little while, isn't it?
We can see our end.
You can see your end. Ah, okay.
Oh, now I can't.
Okay.
Yes, it's back again.
Okay, great. It's back for me too. So this is just a nice little landing slide for the Careers and Placements Fair. But I'll walk you through just a few functions of Teams, just so you know what's going on. So on the top bar, you'll be able to see a few buttons. The 2 people kind of next to each other. Oh, I think I can point to them here. These are our participants lists, so you can see all the people that are attending. Once you join your meeting, your webinar assistant will make you a presenter, so you'll be able to see all this information. It's really worth having, when you join, if possible, the name of your organisation or an acronym, just so we know who to make presenters, because students will be joining via the same link. Can be a little bit confusing. It also helps if you join a little bit early, just so we know we've got everyone there and we can get going. How you view some things will be a little bit different depending on whether your organisation uses Teams and you have the Teams app, or whether you're joining from the link and it just opens in the browser. But most of it should be the same. So next along is the chat function. This is where we'll be asking students to pop their questions in, and feel free to use it today. We've also got this function here, which is the raise your hand, and it has some reactions as well. Another good way just to get students to kind of engage with you. You may want to ask a question, for instance, if I was presenting, or have you heard of the University of Reading, or do you know what we do? You might ask students to kind of give you an indication of what they know about you. Next along, we have the 3 dots. I'm just going to ignore the breakout rooms because it's not particularly useful to you. Next along are the 3 dots. Here you can use kind of background effects if you think your background's a little bit messy or you don't want people to see. I don't know. I won't come up with any examples of what you don't want people to see, but hopefully they should be out of view anyway. Device settings, just to see, you know, how your call strength and things like this. If you're really struggling with Wi-Fi or anything, you may want to turn your camera off while you're presenting, just so you, what you're presenting and the audio comes out a little bit clearer. It can depend on the recipient's end as well, but try and do everything we can to kind of mitigate any kind of broadband issues. There you can also find turning on like live captions and things. So if that makes it easier for you to just hear the other panelists or anything, or what I'm saying now, you can follow along there. Over here should be pretty explanatory, but you've got your camera, which you can turn on and off. I'd recommend turning it off just while other people are speaking, just so the focus is on them. And if you can, if your bandwidth allows, then keep it on while you're speaking. It's quite nice to be able to see a person. Obviously a microphone, again, please turn this off when other people are speaking, just to mitigate background noise. And then finally over here, we have the share content button. If you do have any slides, this is where you'll go. So this is where I am at the moment. Along this section, I believe you only have this option when you are using the Teams app. I may be wrong, but it's just different ways of kind of appearing next to your slides if you use slides. So you've got the different options there. If you do want to play any videos, please use the include computer sound button before, otherwise no one will be able to hear them. So there are a couple of different ways of sharing your screen or slides. If you are using the Teams app, the best way to do this is going down to PowerPoint Live, and you select this, and this is what I'm doing now. You can just see the slides. Otherwise, you can use share screen or share window. If you're sharing screen, it's likely that if you've got your kind of apps open or things, or your emails, then people will still be able to see notifications pop up. So you might just want to share your window. When you click on window, you should have whatever you want to share open already, and then you should be able to see the list of things to choose from. Unfortunately, you don't have the luxury of going down here if you're not using the app, and people will see, if you're sharing slides, they'll see the kind of outer edge thing that you see to begin with before you click to share or present your slides. Finally, over here, you also have the leave button, which is pretty self-explanatory as well. I'm just going to forward on to my next slide. Hopefully you'll be able to hear it fine, but just give me an indication. Yeah. Oh, hang on. Is he gone ahead? Nope. There we go. So that's just a nice little message from Robert van der Noort, our Vice Chancellor. I can see it's worked for some people and not for others. So hopefully it seems like it was fine for more people than not. So it might be an indication of your bandwidth if it wasn't working. So that's just something to be aware of. Obviously, you only have about 15 minutes to present about your organisation and opportunities. So using a video might not be the best use of time. But if you would like to, I know some of you had sent me pre-recorded videos or kind of almost like trailers or adverts, and they are really quick and really snappy and quite exciting. So that might be a nice thing to break it up. But yeah, it's just something to be aware of, that it might not come through as clearly to some other people. I think that is about everything that I wanted to cover Teams wise. So I'm really sorry if it's been a bit boring for some of you and you use it all the time, but hopefully just clearing up anything for people that don't use it in their everyday. Feel free to ask any questions. You're all presenters as well, so if you wanted to try out sharing slides or anything that I've kind of shown you, then please feel free to have a go. Yeah.
Rebecca, hi, it's Paul Drury here from Serial Partners.
Hi, Paul.
Hiya. My colleague Charlotte has set up her schedule. We've got two placement opportunities, and she has made a request for me to receive an invite to set up a separate schedule, but I haven't received that. I don't know if there's anything you can do just to follow that up and see if you can prompt it for me.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
One thing I will say, oh, sorry, I've got a bit of feedback. There we go, thanks. One thing I will say about Career Fair Plus is for some reason they use very dodgy email addresses. So I don't know why, but the system kind of generates this very long, weird email address. It is legitimate, but it can often end up in your junk folder. If anyone needs a refresher of the link, then I can resend that to you from the system, but I can also just copy the link, and it's a bit easier sometimes just to click from there. So yes, I'll get that to you, Paul.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Does anyone else have any questions about Teams, the format of the fair, Career Fair Plus? I'll stop recording and hang around.